Dumelang, dumelang, dumelang. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sound on Siren podcast. I am your host, Imbali Blooming, and I'm here with
Gitu Medzi.
Gitu. I'm so excited. But thank you, firstly, for tuning back into the podcast. I appreciate you coming and subscribing. A couple of people have subscribed to the YouTube channel already, so subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. But before we get into all of that stuff, I wanted to say that here on the Sound on Siren podcast, we fortify ourselves from the inside out. So get ready for a journey of fortification.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah. nothing to report. Just feeling very regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about today. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to get back into doing the podcast and into also being able to record it. I feel like it's something that I have as one of my goals this year. So it feels good to be working on it.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome
thank you
back,
very
back,
much.
back.
Thank you. I messaged Gitu like a few weeks ago and I was like, I think it's time you come onto the podcast.
Yep.
I think it's time. And I'm glad that the time has come because I've been patiently waiting. But yeah, if you were to rate your week on a scale of 1 to 5, what would it be and how was your week?
What a question. If I had to rate it from 1 to 5, wasn't as good as last week, but wasn't horrible. So maybe like 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a short work week, which is always love that.
Yeah.
Love that. We love a long weekend. But it was one of those weeks. I've just been having this period of time where there's so much on my plate.
Yeah.
At work specifically. And having a short work week, while I love it, also does mean I had to somehow condense all what I would have in a regular week into a lot less time. So obviously I didn't finish some of the things I had to finish or that I would have wanted to finish.
Yeah.
That also means I might have to work a bit on the weekend, which we hate doing.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, I will have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad how much that has creeped into my life more and more, where it's like doing something for work after work or doing a little bit of something on the weekend. I want to not get into that practice. I don't want to be like folks in my life who, just like work is sending emails at Sunday morning. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
No. Especially when you only go back to work on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but it was all right. I think while I was at work, I was able to get a lot done and got to go to a conference on Friday. That was nice. I would say I've had worse weeks.
Yeah.
I've had better weeks.
Yeah.
But also I wouldn't say it was like just on the 5, like where it's like half.
Yeah.
I would say it's just a little bit better than most baselines.
6.5, okay. My week was good.
Alright.
I had a very boring-ish work week because the van broke down.
Oh.
Well, anyway, we won't get into it, but that car, crazy. But yeah, so I spent the time planning, doing this. I spent the time watching a lot of the Uncut podcast. I love that podcast a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so what would I rate my week? So I'd probably rate it like a 5. I think it was just like an okay week. Anyway, would you like to give the folks on the pod an introduction of yourself? Do you want to say anything about yourself? Because I didn't really say anything. I had this whole thing to say, but
I mean, I don't know that there's things to say, you know? A lot of people also in my life know me as K2, which is a nickname I got years and years ago. Yeah. I feel like folks will
get to know you
get to know.
as it goes.
But like generally, I'm just a regular person. Just a
I
regular
love
person.
that. Just a
Nothing. Just a
regular
regular
person.
person. Yeah.
Kitu is being very modest right now, but also like you will get to know her as time goes on. But she is one of the funniest people that I know. She is really, really smart. She's very opinionated. That one for sure.
That's true.
You see,
That's
Kitu
true.
has 20 toes when it comes to being opinionated,
It's
but
true.
it's never like um it's never at somebody's expense. It's never like, oh, this person's opinionated and you're like, this person wa bora. It's always talking. Doesn't make sense. No, the opinions, they will stab you because they are accurate. They are
Damn.
accurate, but there's a lot of them. So I'm really happy to have her on here because of that as well. I think our conversations in general are just always so nice. They're regular conversations, but I do feel like sometimes you say things and I'm like, think other people should hear this.
Okay,
But I'm not
work.
gonna walk away and be like, so my roommate said I don't have time for that.
That's so fair.
So I'm just like, come and say it on the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the lovely words to say about me. It's very strange, I think, to also be on the receiving end of well, some people that's not a strange thing for them, like
Yeah.
receiving compliments or stuff like that. But I wouldn't necessarily say I'm uncomfortable with it, but it's always very like, okay. Like it just makes you a bit like shy. But thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So please, before we move to the next segment, can you tell the people how we met? I love this story. It's my favorite story.
Oh, it was one day in good old Vancouver. I was going to my first ever job I had here, which was at Safeway, like a grocery store.
Oh, you were going to work?
I was going to work. I worked at that Safeway at Broadway McDonald.
We never even spoke about where you were going. I don't think I've ever known all these years. Yeah.
So I was on the bus and then you came on the bus. I think you probably came on the bus at that University Village stop.
Yeah.
So like I got on where the bus starts at the bus loop and then you got on the next stop. And there were so many empty seats. Like so many. And as a general rule of thumb, me as a person who commutes, I go, if there's like seats, I will find an empty seat. But also, if I don't have to sit next to someone, I won't sit next to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if they're cool and black, I'm going to say hi.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily going to sit next to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then
you came and you sat right next to me. And I was like, okay. All right. And you're like, hi. And I was like, hi. And and like, hi. I'm like, okay, I'm good. How are you good? It's like, he said, you look South African. And I was like, I am. And then you were like, where are you from? And I was like, Joburg. And then you were like, okay, where? And then I was like,
yeah.
I live in Midrand, but I grew up in Tladi, Soweto. And you were like, oh my God, I'm from here. And then it's like, what's your name? I remember me saying my name and then I was like, oh, K2. And you were like, Because and you were like trying to decipher it. You were like, huh?
I was like, what is that?
And you were like, Kitu? Kitu's like, I was like, yeah. It's like, oh, you're Kitu. So I was like, yeah, what's your name? And you're like, I'm Palesa. I said, Palesa? Wow, I haven't seen a Palesa in like over a year. You know what I mean? Because it was also 2018.
Yeah.
Like very early in the year 2018.
Was it 2018?
Yeah, it was spring of 2018, I think.
Damn.
So I was also just like struck at like, see, and then you were like, I guess kind of what's your ethnicity, but you didn't ask it in that way. I can't remember the exact words, but then it was like, oh, I'm Zwana, and then it was like, I'm Zwana. And then we just swithed from English
to Zwana.
Then we just dropped the English. And then we were just like, chatting us Zwana, and then it was, and then we were chatting, and we didn't have time to get into a lot of things. It was, I think also there was just a lot of excitement at meeting someone who's South African and getting to speak your language. Yeah. And then you were like, let me get your phone number. Because then I was also like, I'm going to get off soon. Yeah. And then you were like, let's exchange numbers and let's meet up really soon. And I was like, cool, this is my number. Got your number. Or like, it was like either one. Where's the thing where you get a number and then you just text and you're like, it's me. Yeah. Did that. And then I got off the bus, but you were going somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't even know where I was
going. Don't know where you were going. But then I went to work and then we texted like probably that day, but then we made plans to meet up a few days after that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Yeah, then we went to lunch at Cactus. I remember also because you
Oh yeah.
hadn't done your big chop yet.
Yes, I still have my
So you
fro.
still had your relaxed hair.
Oh, my relaxed
You still had your
hair.
relaxed
You're right. You said
hair.
2018.
But it was like the first time I met you, you had
Yeah.
your relaxed hair. We went to that lunch at Cactus. No, it wasn't. Is it Cactus?
Yeah, it
Whatever
was
is at Yaletown,
cactus. It was
Cactus at
cactus.
Yaletown.
Yeah.
And we had that lunch. We spoke for hours, and then the next time I saw you, you had done your big cut, and that's when I think we hung out at your house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also when I don't know if your name was already this on Instagram, but that's also when like the makings of a poet became something I associated with you. Yeah.
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 What an era.
Lasted for a while.
Was for a long
For a
time.
while.
My tattoo is a result of the makings of the
Exactly.
poet.
Yeah.
The makings of a poet. Sorry.
And then
But yeah,
the rest, as they say, is
the rest is
history.
history. It's
Yeah.
what, 6 years of history?
Something like that.
2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, 7 years.
A bit dizzy.
A bit dizzy.
A bit dizzy. Perfect. I love that story so much. So we're going to go into the next segment. And the next segment is called Siren Sounds.
Okay.
And we're basically going to break into songs in this segment. And we're going to break into songs in various different ways.
Okay.
But for this episode, if you could describe me in a song, what song would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be like a description like my whole lifetime that you've known me, right? Do you have one or do you want some time?
I thought I would need some time. When you first asked it, I was like, ooh. But then a song immediately came.
Okay.
So I guess I have an answer.
Yeah.
I would say it's Golden by Jill Scott.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Taking my own freedom.
Yes.
Don't take it from me. I was born into it. It comes naturally. Exactly.
Holding on to my freedom. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. But why?
But why? I think what the essence of that song in terms of what Jill is saying is very much representative of how you move about your life. And also, I think particularly in the years I've known you, so much of your life has been around like reclamation and like I refuse to, you know, it was just like a journey where there were certain moments where I think you have to do it in steps, right? Even if you're coming into yourself creatively, maybe other areas it's still like slower, but it's just been like this, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna do me, and it was persistent, and that's really great because I also don't think a lot of us are aware of how much we don't necessarily do us, or you know, like you're not necessarily doing you, you're kind of going through the motions, or in the worst case scenario, or like most people just performing who you think you need to be or who you think people will like. And I think you're in this place where you're just like, I just can't do that anymore. Or I'm gonna choose where I need to do that because of like doing that at work to stay sane, because these people at work don't need to see me like that all the way. But just very much like just doing me. But also I feel like the happiness, the golden, you know, like I think your life course would be one that's very jovial, you know, and golden is very that, you know, I loved that song as a child. It always just lifts my spirit. It's very that, and I feel like that's very you. So yeah, energetically I feel like that song captures you.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's so beautiful. Wow, you already, you said
I didn't think I was ready for that, but it just came. My mind said, boop.
You said, I don't need time. Okay.
Yeah, there's probably so many other songs, though.
So many other songs.
There's also so many, like, dimensions to you. But I think also in terms of what other people may also perceive, like, as something that's a bit more overall. How we all experience Baleza is very, I feel like, that. And then there's some of us who get to see more and more and more. And so we might have more songs. I think your siblings would have different
songs.
Vibes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I would definitely choose Golden for myself as well as one of the songs. I listened to that song religiously at one point. Like for years, that was just my go-to song. Like whatever I did, that was Nelly Pinaya thing. That's what I was doing. It's a very great song. So my song for you is Just One of Them Days by Monica. It's just one of them days. Yes. And because, I mean, she says a whole bunch of things as like against other people. So like I'm tired and I want to go away and I want to, be by myself. It's just one of them days where I'm just not interested. Not in that regard, so don't take it literally, but I just feel like that song represents a lot of boundary making. Like, and for you, that's how I see a lot of you, is that you have your boundaries like in check. Like when you're not wanting to do something, you don't do it. When you come in the house and you don't want to engage, you don't engage. And it has nothing to do with me. It's not about me. It's all about you. And I really like that boundary of like, I will put myself first. I will be, it's like that approach, that like person-centered approach or client-centered approach. I feel like in your life, you have a Gitu-centered approach. And I really, really like that. And I really admire that. And that's one of the pages out of your book that I want to take, is being more self-involved and self-preserving, I guess. And being okay with that, and being okay with not being in other things and not thinking of it as like people are forgetting me, people are not whatevering me. Because I think also because you give that to yourself, you don't judge other people for that. If somebody doesn't engage with you or doesn't greet you or doesn't whatever, you're not thinking like, this person went saying, they're angry at me or they whatever. You're just like,
no, because also we all deserve, I think, that
space
to do what feels right in any given moment.
Yeah.
But also I will say, for me, when you're saying all that, sometimes it's funny because you've told me this in some forms over the years, but also it's come out from other people as well in over the years. And it's just very funny because I wouldn't necessarily say it's something I'm consciously doing as well. I think there are some things that are conscious to it for sure, definitely on the self-preserving part.
Yeah.
I think there's ways where I don't necessarily know how to best take care of myself, but I know what it looks like when I'm not taking care of myself. And even if I'm not doing the best care for myself, I definitely know how to preserve what feels very doable, responsive, and appropriate for me at a particular time.
Yeah.
And also I take my business to like the extreme.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of just like, I just take minding my business to the extreme, in the sense of, even sometimes I'm not even really thinking about me, but I'm definitely not bothered about other people.
Yeah.
So I should be more aware of my surroundings. I will say that I should be more aware of my surroundings, because I'm just
La la la
la la la la la. I'm not even in la la land, because I'm not like a massive daydreamer. Honestly, what I'm doing is I'm not being aware, and I'm just doing that thing, that opinionated. I'm just going over mass opinions over my head. I'm either replaying my day and giving myself like, what did I think of this, that?
Yeah.
Or I'm just thinking about something, or listening to like a podcast and having opinions on it.
Yeah.
Listening to a song, having feelings about it, but can't be bothered.
No. The next one's called Chatterbox. It's just time for us to have a discussion about certain things, whatever they might be. But I know that earlier this year, we had both expressed like our goals and wanting to focus on creating content in some form or shape. And like particularly on YouTube, I mean, for me, I want to help not only the podcast on YouTube, but also just have a YouTube channel in general. This is a goal I've had for many years over, that I feel like I want to refine this year. And I just have a few questions for us in terms of like figuring out or just talking about that goal in general. But before I ask those questions, because they're very pointed about creating content, is it still something that you are looking at doing for yourself, something you're interested in? And it doesn't have to mean you have like a definite whatever.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. Like, kind of, but also no, but also yes. So the thing is, I don't quite know about YouTube anymore.
Okay. Why is that?
Just because I feel like video editing is a lot.
It is.
And I don't particularly feel like I'm in a place where I want to take that on. And also it adds to the feeling of like wanting to avoid filming, because it's the whole thing is just like what I record is so step one, and to get to an actual final product that I like requires far too many steps for me. I'm not in that place. So YouTube is not, it's a not now thing if it ever happens. So we'll see. But I'm definitely still interested in making content in some form. The thing is that the focus keeps changing.
Yeah.
There's like one thing that kind of always repeats to come back to. But I think definitely the priority for me this year would be to just get back into writing and just write. Just write a lot more. And then out of that writing, if I make other forms of content, then that's fine. But I would rather write, and then from the writing, whether it's even writing notes on researching something and then you record a podcast episode or something based on that project, that writing thing, I would much rather do that because I think I want to get into writing. So if I do get into content like that, then I think maybe the Substack route, you know, maybe that. In as much as obviously I'm just a regular person, so I watch a lot of TikTok, Instagram, all those things. Um, I I'm not necessarily feeling like I'm part of or wanting to be part of that type of creating. Very much happy to live in the Substack and or audio podcast space.
Yeah.
At least when it's like stuff that's like just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do think, yeah, like I just don't, at least not right now, I don't necessarily have the disposition to do TikToks or reels, nor do I want to.
Yeah.
So
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think the questions would still apply as well to writing if that's kind of become more of the focus and building that out. But definitely editing is a lot of work.
it's a lot of work.
And it's definitely a skill that you can learn and acquire, but it's a skill that you have to acquire rather, and learn.
Yeah.
And then refine as well in order to get, because as with any goal, as with anything that you're learning, the goalpost always shifts. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm okay doing level 1, but once you've accomplished level 1, now you want to do level 2, and now you're looking at level 4 even when you're at level 2.
Yeah.
And to get to level 4 is a lot more learning, and I think that's also the other side of this that has maybe been a little bit why I have this tension with creation, especially on YouTube and like visual content, is that the learning curve is continuous.
Yeah.
The learning curve is it is steep and it is continuous. And I just getting knocked back down from being like, oh, I've accomplished doing this. And then you do something and you're like, but this doesn't look right. And you're like, but to learn how to make
Or I want
that
it to
right,
look like that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to do that. But also this year, I think learning things is so great. And if that's something that you want to do and other folks want to do, love that.
Yeah.
I do really think as adults we should be more into like learning things, new things in particular. But that's not a thing I want to learn right now. It's not a thing that feels like a thing I want to learn. And I really this year for the first, maybe not the first, but like I really feel like it's been a labor of love, kind of building up my capacity to do big brain work again.
Yeah.
Coming out of university and also just having a very difficult couple of years, like just emotionally, familially, all the things.
Yeah.
And this year I'm just really allowing myself to finally do a lot of big brain thinking, which also means it's like I'm doing some studying, lots more reading of like things that are very aligned with who I am, books I've had for ages but just haven't had the brain power really to get to, and things like that. So I think a lot of my learning lives there, getting back into my big brain and not necessarily into maybe there will be skills in there or like a skill, but because I do think I really want to get into like gardening or something like that. But very much the learning for me is living in a particularly academic space for me, or getting back into academic learning. I think also my work is getting more curriculum based in the sense of I'm doing more curriculum development than I was doing before.
Yeah.
And doing all of that curriculum development means I'm doing more research, I'm reading more essays, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm having to do it more at work, and it's making me feel like I'm stretching that muscle enough to the point where I want to do it for myself. If anything, to get a reprieve from at work, you kind of have subject matter that you have to do that maybe I don't really necessarily have a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But things are interesting, can be interesting within that, but I'm not necessarily like salivating at the content.
Yeah.
Whereas I have plenty of stuff that really, really stimulates me and gets me thinking a lot. So if I can get my brain in that place where it's very much, I don't know, it's like I'm priming my pump, you know?
Yeah.
Get foreplay for the things I really, academic foreplay.
Yeah. Which is really nice. And I
yeah.
think also like environmentally, us getting the dining room table might help that as well,
Yeah.
to be able to be on your computer a little bit more and flex that muscle once it has been pumped, once you have the pump from work.
Which is why I was happy to get on the urgency of like, we need to get it.
Yeah.
Because my thing also is I'm just waiting for us to get into good stretch of sun, warmer temperatures, but also just longer days. I'm also just cognizant of the fact that these short days and my work hours are also not like most people's. So I also get off work when it's so dark, and that's not helpful for me if I want to be able to do stuff after work, because my circadian rhythm is like, girl, we're coming down. So I'm also just aware that I'm working in a place where I'm doing what I can right now, but I'm putting a lot of stock into spring and summer to get me going with some of the studying I have to do, because it's getting real.
You can do it though.
Thank you.
You can do it. So these three questions. These three questions, I think still definitely apply, and even more so actually now that you've shared quite a bit more.
Okay.
So the first question, what are you going to do to help meet your goal or even just your interest? Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, I guess I can also share what I'm going to do.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it. I think I've come to... Last year, I had the mindset of I'm just going to do it. This year, I'm adding to that the actual physicalness of doing it. To actually practice doing it, to actually get into it. Like I did so well with my TikTok.
Yeah.
In January, I think I kind of fell off in that last like week and a half. And I didn't really post anything, but then in February, I was like, oh, cool, I have something to look back on to kind of also salvage that motivation that I had in January, to be like, no, things are actually changing. Things are actually growing. For me, the metrics do help, but it's important to not get wrapped into the metrics. So also what I'm going to do is do a little bit more brain work on not being like, the numbers don't matter, because they actually matter for me. It is a key part of my motivation for doing things, but it's not about getting 3 bajillion of the numbers and that being the focus. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, is put the brain work somewhere else, because I am ready. I am already doing it. I don't want to go back to saying to myself, we're starting at ground zero, because
it's not at this place that you
then I do this whole revamp, because I'm like, well, I've gone back and I've gone back to the drawing board, but then for me, I feel like I have to construct the drawing board first and then get into the other things.
And you might really like that process of the construction, which is why you might find yourself kind of doing that over and over. I think that's something worth excavating there, that maybe it's not even necessarily the newness that's exciting, but it's that thing where you kind of have to build, or the planning.
And I do like that. I do like that. For my own projects, I feel like it delays me. Yes, life happens and everything happens for a reason and in its own time and all that beautiful thing. And also it is a fact that it delays me in moving the needle forward.
Yeah, especially because you want to do the thing. You want to do the thing, but you always feel like you need to have all these particular things set up to do the thing. And that's delaying. You're right there.
It's very delaying.
It's delaying.
So for you, what are you going to do to meet your goal?
Very like you. Just do it. I think I've also been in this place where, and I was telling you last night, where either I make an assumption or a judgment on myself about a thing, and then I just don't do it. So I'm like, oh well, I'm just gonna, like, you know what are the odds of this thing low? I don't want to feel bad feelings associated with not doing well, so I'm just gonna not do it.
Yeah.
And that's whack. That's very wackadoodle. So I think the thing this year is also just to do it, even if it's annoying and pedantic, but also like difficult. Like some of the things I have to do this year are not because I'm doing it for the love of it, but it's because of like where the things you need to do to get to a particular place. And so for me, it's also this year is going to be a testament to persistence and perseverance because I have things that I have to do that I don't think I'll particularly enjoy, but I just have to do them because they're important to get to the thing that I think I will enjoy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's also part of me has to be annoyed and or just push myself in the now, knowing that I'm planting the seeds and it's gonna take a while for me to see the flowers.
Yeah. But there will be
But you have to plant the
flowers.
seeds. You know what I mean? You have to do the things. So I'm in that stage and I just have to do it.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult. It's so difficult because also so much energy.
Yeah.
Like so I'm just gonna start adding in more just add things to my routine and try to be more disciplined with them. So adding a block after work because I'm also not a morning person.
Cool.
That's what I'm gonna try to do.
Cool. It's great though because you covered all three of the questions as to what you're gonna do. Because the questions was what are you gonna do to meet the goal? What type of content would you share? And then what will you not do? Because you know it's a sure way for you to talk yourself out of what you really want to do. And you definitely answered that.
Yeah.
And maybe you're still working on the different types of content in particular, and there'll be different things I'm sure that will spark your thing. And I think for me that's been I think with all of the social media, all of the content creating, like all of the coaches, all of the packages, all of the come and learn how to be even an entrepreneur. Like everybody is so obsessed with teaching it and sharing it in one particular way of niching down or having a particular thing. And for me, I can't conceptualize it. You know me. And now that we've realized that I'm all water signs in my big three, there is no you are just one thing because I have to be an ocean and a drop and a wave and a river and a little creek all at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I now am able to conceptualize it. No, noticing that I am all water has actually allowed me to see my personality in a different way as well.
Wild.
But
some of us are working with water and fire. Water and fire.
So
literally, that's quite literally how it goes. You can tell that in my temperament. It's just like shapari duels. They're doing like a gish situation. It's doing a gish situation, and they from jump they've been doing very gish things, but
very gish things. Mad. Okay, so we're going into the last segment before we wrap up the episode here. It's been such a fun episode, by the way. I absolutely love this. So this section is called upele pele.
Okay.
And upele pele means like pepper or like something that's hot or spicy. And this will either be like a thread that we'll do or just something from the web that I found that I want to share with you or vice versa.
Okay.
So today, there's this. Is it that one that I wanted to do? Oh, well, first of all, there's this, which I think goes really well with what you are talking about. And also just me knowing you. Somebody on Threads put, in quotation marks, never wanting to be seen or perceived, handshake emoji, wanting to be well known and successful online.
Hey! The conflict is so real. It's so real. But it's also like, you don't get to control how you are perceived. So it's also sometimes it's not even in the fear of being perceived. It's in the I have no hold over how you get to perceive me.
Yeah.
I just get to be me and then you can perceive it any which way. And I've seen myself be perceived in ways that make no sense to me.
Yeah.
That have put me off a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like some people receive you really well and then some people just don't. They just don't. And it's okay.
Yeah.
I know also my thing is also I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea because everybody isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I can extend that to folks who I'm like, I'm not gonna like everyone, and in the same way, not everyone is gonna like me, and that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to be realistic about it as
But I
well.
do think with content in particular or putting things out in the world, it's that you really are hoping for that feedback as well. And that's like a difficult relationship.
Okay. So what quietly disappeared over the last 20 years and no one noticed? The word metrosexual.
I have so many thoughts on that word. It didn't have to exist.
It didn't have to
It
exist
didn't have to
at
exist.
all.
At all.
It was, but let's make an episode out of it. Let's
Okay.
write it down. Yeah. Somebody else said our democracy. Someone else said integrity and respect.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it either. But I don't agree with integrity and respect in the same way that I don't agree when people say, men in particular say, in this day and age, we just can't voice our opinion. We just can't be saying what we want to say. We just can't be.
It's quite literally also the opposite.
Literally.
Like, we've never been able to say whatever you want then in this. You can say whatever
Anything
you want. It's just about that thing of you don't want consequences.
Yes.
That's what people are saying. They're
Yes.
like, I can't say anything because if I say what I'm saying, I'm going to have consequences to my actions.
Yeah.
You don't want consequences. That's not how that goes.
It's not. So the thing is, what quietly disappeared over the last 20 years and no one noticed? Someone said, they don't measure your foot at them shoe stores no more.
Were they measuring feet?
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Yeah,
in my
when you
lifetime.
walk in, they would measure your foot. I think it has I think they had like this contraption. It was like a metal thing. It's basically like a metal measurer.
Yeah.
And you put your foot in it and then they'd move stuff around and they'd be able to measure you. I did notice that when I first moved here, there were a couple of times that I got measured, but then I didn't get measured ever again. I think maybe just as a way of measuring, it went out because I think they assume that you would be wearing the shoe or that you would know your shoe size.
That's my thing.
As
It's
well.
also like, I don't even remember this from when I was younger. Maybe it happened, but I don't remember. But I also think it was that thing where your parents, I don't know how it worked, but my mom and my aunt just knew my size. Or also if they bought something and it didn't fit, then they know you size up or size down.
Size down, yeah. If you have one, send it to us. I'll put a PO box that you can send it to. I'm just kidding.
We don't need that. We don't need that.
They said bugs on the windshield, and it's terrifying when you realize what it means for your local ecosystem.
True.
Definitely way less bugs. Even in the summer,
Yep.
there's way less bugs. 100% on the windshields. Even bugs that are there's way less bugs on the windshield. There's a lot of bugs that fly into my nose that try to come into my mouth, and I don't appreciate that. I think we should get rid of those ones and bring the other ones back.
Fair.
Someone said white dog poop.
No, white dog poop was just old dog poop. The dog poop wasn't white. It was just you just leave your dog's poop on the grass, and after a week it's white. It looks like cement. That is not. The dog poop was never white. It just wasn't that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But from my understanding, it's just old poop.
Someone said, and I think this is false, they're just not looking for it, but the Listerine tape that you used to put on your tongue and it dissolves to give you fresh breath.
I never had that.
Really?
Mm-mm.
There's a movie. Oh,
I know what you're talking about because I know about breath strips.
Yeah.
But I never used a breath strip in my life. But yes, that was a thing. And it's not a thing anymore.
That was a really
and
cool
it hasn't
thing.
been a thing for a long time because I don't have that. I didn't do that.
The question is, what quietly disappeared over the last 20 years and no one noticed? Somebody down here said there was apparently a salad, that dressing that you were able to spray onto your salad. What the fuck is that?
I feel like there's still some iterations of that probably still knowing people.
That's crazy. I don't know what this means or if this is true. It says the FBI threatening us before every movie. Was there a disclaimer? I
think that there were quite a few American movies that had some disclaimer like that. Yeah, probably.
That's hilarious. Someone said ringtones, obviously, and callback tones.
Miss ringtone.
Yeah.
Or just not just like because there's ringtones, but also like having a song.
Yes,
as your ringtone.
Yes.
Which
like
you can still do.
Ringtone, yeah.
Like a few of my friends do have songs as their ringtones because you know, people are just funny that way. But like I started doing like I have alarms
Yeah.
now that I have as a song. That's very funny. It
Mm.
reminds me of like grade 7.
That you wake up to like in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not in the morning, but like if it's like a funny fun alarm. Like
Yeah.
I'll do it for the weekend morning one as well. On
Okay.
my sleep thing,
Yeah.
I have like Calvin Harris Summer, if you know, you know,
Oh.
as like the song. But yeah, there's like you can buy
That's when I met you in the summer.
Yeah. But you can, if you have your song on Apple Music, you can make it a ringtone. You
Wow.
can buy a song to make it a ringtone.
Oh yeah, on Apple. That's why
Apple.
I've never done it because I don't use Apple Music.
Yeah.
Someone said clocks.
I think it depends on the house.
Yeah, we used
It
to
also
have one as
depends
well.
where you are. Like I still feel like a lot of black homes in South Africa still have a
clocks.
clock. Like I
Yeah,
feel like
we
all our
have
Gogo's
clocks.
house still have a clock.
Yeah, my parents' house
Maybe
has
your
a
parents
clock.
have a clock.
Yeah.
But maybe you don't have a clock on your wall.
Mm.
But also my grandmother doesn't wear a watch. If that makes sense. So my grandmother has always needed a clock. Like we have a clock in the bedroom and a clock in the living room because it's like you check the clock. We have a clock, we just haven't put it up.
Yeah, we haven't put it up.
But it works, but we just haven't put batteries in it and put it up.
Yeah.
But
we used to be OG, have it in our old place, bam.
It's true.
Keeping the history alive. Okay, I'll do like 3 more. This one person said finding random money on the floor. The whole country's broke as hell now.
It's true. It's true. Not about 20 rand. You used to just pick up a 20 rand off the floor, you know, 10 rand. Just somebody dropped a note. Ish.
Somebody said third places, and I feel like we're gonna make a podcast episode out of third places / third spaces, especially because you and I both have the experience of being in South Africa and growing up in South Africa and having third spaces, but also in a different type of a social culture as well. I think that'd be really cool. I always say that continuously. I'm really glad. I know people joke around sometimes like, I was born in the wrong time. And some people feel really and truly that they were born too late, too early, whatever the case might be. But given where the world is today, I'm really happy I was born when I was born.
Yeah.
Got the chance to see the things that I saw, especially the both sides of like having technology and not having technology in this robust sense.
Yeah, the emerging or like the change.
Exactly.
Over the years, yeah.
And like what actually community looked like pre-technology and then as technology was kind of coming in. You know, kids still hung out together, but were hanging out together doing different things. You were watching movies, you were, you know, doing gaming, you were whatever the case might have been, surfing the net or whatever the case is, where some of us nereba pala dingeto, and that was literally like outside games were your games.
Gusha was
Gusha, party,
yeah, I didn't play party, but Matsuma,
Foursquare,
yeah,
it was live. It was absolutely live. Yeah, Mafrotan.
Yeah,
live. Yeah.
Oh my god, remember what we call hide and seek? What was the thing that we sang?
Black Mampatil.
At night with your cousins.
And I wonder if Black Mampatile actually is like means something or it's like a black man or patile.
Oh my, it's probably based on some actually like really sad thing.
Exactly.
Like black people hiding and they're like, and it was like a code like the white man is here, and then they would like scatter and hide. It's probably some shit like that. Probably some shit like that.
Some shit like that.
Yeah, we're in North America, everything leads back to slavery. In South Africa, everything leads back to apartheid.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kitu, for joining me. I'm so excited that you'll be here for the year.
Thanks.
On this journey, through this journey of discovery. Finding you and finding me. Awesome. So thank you everyone for tuning in to the Sound on Siren podcast. You can find us on all of the platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, wherever we are there. We're also on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a review. How did you find this episode? New episodes will come out every Friday at 10 a.m. PST or 8 p.m. South African time. Everyone else reconfigure according to these 2 times.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. It's been cool. It's been good. See you on the next one.